Alright. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Omar BYT, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome back to the channel here today, guys. This is gonna be a different video, guys. I know the season hasn't ended yet, guys, but I do want to talk about some few things as far as, the end of the season is concerned. Certain stuff gonna be happening in the transfer window and everything else. And basically, guys, even though we are in the middle of the season, we have to kind of look forward to the end of the season pretty soon, guys. And even though, we don't know who's coming in next season, there's a lot of players in the current team right now, guys, who don't look like their future is guaranteed here next season, basically, guys. And basically, I just wanted to make this video where I'm going to be talking about 10 players in this current Barca team who could be leaving at the end of the season. These are pretty much guaranteed, basically more of the fact that maybe they will either go out on loan or they just don't have any future here. And basically, before I talk about some of the players who are going to come in, which I will make a video about soon, guys, I am going to be talking about the players who are going to be potentially leaving. And listen, you guys tell me in the comment section if there are any player I missed out on this topic, guys. Let me know, guys. But yeah, man, if you guys like that, make sure you guys smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's go. From the start, I would say the first player that I think it's almost guaranteed he's going to be leaving at the end of the season is Ansu Fati. Now, unfortunately, Ansu Fati, it looks like the road is over for him. I don't see him, recovering from this anymore. It's very clear Hansi Flick can't trust in Ansu Fati anymore. The guy has become so injury prone now that he is not reliable in this team. And you've seen it, guys. Barcelona tried to get rid of him during the January transfer window. It didn't happen. He stuck around and he stayed at the club. And well, since then, we haven't seen him. We haven't seen Ansu Fati since the end of the transfer window. He's barely even been in squads. I think, this recent game against Benfica, he was part of the squad. That's probably the first time he was been in the squad for like weeks or months. But yeah, unfortunately, it really doesn't seem like he has any future at the club anymore. Like I said, Hansi Flick looks like he's just giving up on Ansu Fati. And I'm gonna be very honest, man. It's a very, very sad state of affairs. But listen, it's football, man. At the end of the day, if you're not on the pitch, bro, you're not remembered. And it's sad because, like I said, he was a top player. He looked like he had the world in his feet. Absolutely amazing player. And I think that for the sake of his career, because he's still young, he's 22. He's going to be 22. Yeah, he's 22 this year. So he still has potential to be great. But all he needs is to just try to keep his head down and just try and maybe get a move to a better club. You know what I mean, right? Some teams that I think would do well for him, maybe like Atalanta might do well for him. I mean, he's been linked to Saudi. He's been linked to Saudi have been the biggest links, to be fair. But I think that would be a waste of his potential. I think that he still has what it takes to do well in other teams in Europe. But as far as Barca is concerned, I feel like it is the end of the road for Ansu Fati, for sure. Next up, on players that I think could leave at the end of the season, number 2 is Ferran Torres. Now, a lot of Barca fans are going to be very, very surprised by this statement, but you shouldn't be, because here's the thing. If we are going to go forward, unfortunately, we're going to have to be ruthless in the transfer window. And I know recently Ferran Torres has been having a good form. He's been in good form. He's been scoring goals here and there. But if I'm going to be real, I just think that he's very inconsistent. Like, we need to be clear. We need to be objective. This is not his first season, guys. This is his 4th season at the club. And he has never really stamped his authority at the club. He's very inconsistent, extremely inconsistent, right, in this current team. And yes, he has his moments, but he has his moments every season. He has his purple patch, and then the purple patch ends, and he's going back to being the old Ferran Torres. And even though he's playing well right now, I just feel like we need to cash in on him while we still have the chance. He's been linked to some clubs. Like, I know Newcastle have been linked. I see Tottenham have been linked recently. There have been a lot of teams that would love to have Ferran Torres. So if we can get some money out of him this summer, I will take it absolutely this summer. But I do believe that he is one of those guys who clearly doesn't have a future in this club. And another player that I think really seems that he doesn't really have a future and is very likely to leave in the summer is Eric Garcia. Now, Eric Garcia recently has been playing quite well, right? I've been very impressed with him and how good he's been this year. But he hasn't really stamped his authority in the team yet, right? And unfortunately, it doesn't seem like things are gonna improve, right? He's had his moments, but I feel like long term his future is not at the club, and I think that the club will try to see if they can cash in on him. If they get a good offer, I can definitely see him leaving at the end of the season. For sure. And I know Girona is one of the teams that have been linked very heavily to him. Who knows? Maybe they might come back for him during the summer transfer window, and if we can get good money for him, it will be great. And especially considering we're being linked to Jonathan Tah, who looks like he's going to be joining us in the summer. So if anything happens during that, if Jonathan Tah signs, then it's almost likely that Eric Garcia will probably be sold. And another centre back who I think will be sold alongside Eric Garcia is unfortunately Andreas Christensen. Now, this is actually a very, very sad case, if I'm going to be real. Andreas Christensen was signed in 2022 on a free from Chelsea. He's been a great signing, right? He has never done a foot wrong. He's been amazing. He's had his moments. He's always been consistent at the club, but he's just been plagued with injuries this whole season. And I feel like the lack of appearance this season has kind of put him down in the pecking order as far as Hansi Flick is concerned. And like I mentioned before, with the Jonathan Tah move looking like it's very likely, it's very unlikely that, a lot of these defenders are going to stick around. And I feel like he's one of those guys, unfortunately, who will be sacrificed. You're seeing this season, with the rise of Kobashi, with how Inigo Martinez has basically proved himself in this team. Araujo, we already know he has a future at the club, for sure. I mean, unfortunately, I just think that when it comes down to Christensen, it's just one of these things where injuries and the lack of appearances has kind of like determined his future. And I think that unfortunately he will be on his way out of the club. Another player I do want to talk about is the goalkeeper, Iñaki Peña. Now, I had a lot of good things to say about Christensen. The same cannot be said about Iñaki Peña. Iñaki Peña recently has really fallen off the pecking order, both on the pitch and off the pitch. He has been crying, complaining, whining, and just being a baby. At the end of the day, this is a guy who, for seasons upon seasons upon seasons in this club, did not stamp his authority at this club at all. He wasn't showing any signs that he was going to do anything in the transfer in the team. Even last season, with Ter Stegen being inconsistent and having injury problems, he had a chance to kind of stamp his authority. He didn't. This season, with Ter Stegen out for the season, he had a chance to stamp his authority. He didn't. And Szczesny has just come in from retirement, by the way. He's came back from retirement, and he's already proven to be a better goalkeeper. And now all this guy can do now is whine and cry. And at this point, I've had enough. Get rid of him, because this guy is pissing me off, right? He does nothing, offers nothing to this team, but thinks he has the right to speak up and complain. Like, seriously, man, get out of here with all of this stuff. Seriously, get out of here with all of this stuff. Another player who I feel like, and this is not going to actually be a move out of the club completely, but a player who I think will leave in the summer on loan will be Pau Victor. Now, Pau Victor is a player who has high potential. Very, very high potential. Right? I think that he has the potential to be great, but I feel like he hasn't really been given an opportunity at Barcelona under Hansi Flick. Right? More opportunities. I mean, he had a great preseason. He kind of had a good start to the season, but he hasn't really proven anything this season so far. And personally, for me, I just feel like, unfortunately, he's probably going to go out on loan. And I feel like for his career, he does need to go out on loan, right? Try to go out on loan, try to get some game time, try to get back on your feet. And let's see. Maybe, depending on how well you do, maybe you might be able to prove yourself. I know a team that's definitely more than happy to take you is Real Betis. They have not hidden their the admiration for you, right? They have not hidden it. They really want to see Paul Victor at their club. And listen, I'm all for it. As long as it's not a loan with the option to buy, or maybe it's an option to buy, but, you know, with a buyback clause or something like that, right? But if he can go to Real Betis and get some game time, I would be all open for that for sure. Another midfielder that I want to talk about, that's 7 now. Another midfielder I do want to talk about is Pablo Torre. He's actually another one who I also think should go out on loan, right, for his career, because I don't know, man. I feel like, you know, he had a great game against Babestro, and bro, he's just, I don't know, for some reason Hansi Flick has just decided to not play him anymore. Nobody knows what the issue with Pablo Torre is, right? But for some reason, he's just not been given a chance, and it makes no sense. I hope that he, you know, maybe he might be given a chance at the end of the season, but it doesn't look like it. So I think for the sake of his career, he needs to go out on loan in the summer for sure. Now, this is going to be one that's going to turn a lot of heads, because the next player I'm going to talk about who could be leaving the club is Frankie de Jong. Now, if you guys know, and this is going to be big, because this one I will admit is very unlikely, news actually came out that Barcelona have offered Frankie de Jong a brand new contract. So I'm making this video knowing that by the time I upload this video, he would have probably already signed a new contract, and I would look like a mug. But if he doesn't sign the contract, that will be it. Let's be real, that will be it. Because at the end of the day, the club have made it very clear they want him to sign a new contract before the start of next season. So if he doesn't sign the contract, the club is gonna sell him in the summer. Doesn't matter how he plays for the rest of the season. Doesn't matter any of that. If he doesn't sign, he's gone. It's that simple. The ninth player that I think is gonna be leaving in the summer, could leave in the summer. This one is another one that I do admit is very unlikely, but don't be surprised. Robert Lewandowski. Now, Robert Lewandowski did sign a new contract that will keep him in the team until 2026. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if Barcelona do sign a striker in the summer, like Isaac, I know it's very unlikely, but let's say Barca sign Isaac, it could mean the end of Robert Lewandowski. Because I feel like Lewandowski, the kind of guy that he is, he wants to play every week. He has that competitive mindset. He might decide with the arrival of Alexander Isaac to maybe stick around maybe for the rest of the season and just maybe get a send-off. Or maybe he might just want to get one last payday. Who knows? Maybe he might decide to go to the MLS, right here in the MLS. Or he could go to Saudi, right? There are options there for him to go to certain clubs. So at the end of the day, I think it might be unlikely, but keep your eye on this move. It could potentially happen. He could potentially leave in the end of the season for sure. Final player that I do want to talk about, and this is going to be a very interesting one. This is probably going to be a wild card, but I'm going to say it regardless. Final player that I think could potentially leave in the summer is Marc-Andre ter Stegen. Now, why am I saying that Marc-Andre ter Stegen could be leaving at the end of the season? We've seen how Szczesny has been playing. I think the club will try to give Szczesny a contract, and maybe if he might decide to stick around. The problem with ter Stegen is, before his major injury, he looked like his time at the club was running out. The players were sick of, the fans were sick of him, the pundits were sick of him, everybody was sick of him. You understand what I'm saying, right? Before his injury, he was looking like his time at the club was over. And with the way that Szczesny is playing, I'm not going to lie, watch this space. That's all I'm going to say. Watch this space. Because at the end of the day, if Barcelona decide to go to the transfer window in the summer and sign a goalkeeper like, I don't know, like Kubo from Dortmund, that could be huge. Let's say if we decide to stay into a contract and sign Kubo as another goalkeeper, that could be the end. I think ter Stegen would probably leave in the summer. Now, I do admit this is a very unlikely move, right? But I feel like ter Stegen's time has kind of run out of the club. Even before his injury, he looked like his time was already up. So I feel like eventually the club is gonna try to basically try to test the waters. Maybe if we sign another goalkeeper, top goalkeeper, who knows? The Stegen might decide to move, especially let's say if he gets a good offer, probably in Germany. Let's say another German team. Who knows? Maybe Dortmund might decide to want to sign him. Who knows? Maybe he might return to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Who knows? Or he might just go to the Serie A, right? Maybe you could sign for like a Juventus or like a AC Milan if Magnan decides to move to Chelsea or something like that. I don't know, but the Stegen is probably very unlikely, but watch this space like I mentioned. Could happen for sure. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Like I said, I don't think a lot of these moves are very likely, but a lot of the moves I mentioned almost are guaranteed are gonna happen. Tell me the players that I missed out on. Tell me the players that you guys think might be leaving at the end of the season for sure in your mind. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Make sure you guys like the video. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Big up to all of you guys. Like I said, recently I hit 3K subscribers. Appreciate every single one of you who are always here sending me love, guys. Big up to every single one of you. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. And like I always say whenever we end these streams, Visca el Barça. Visca el Catalunya. And peace, you guys. Take care.